Hello everyone, I am Pankaj Chaudhary and today we are going to learn public-private data in Python. So let's start with public data. All member variables and methods are public by default in Python. So when you want to make your member public, you just do nothing. In Python, there is no such concept of public and private data, but there is a convention of private data. Example of public data. Here we are going to declare one sample class with an init method that holds a public data in it. So the public var1, which is not starting with any underscore, is a public variable in Python or instance variable in a Python. Now let's see protected data. So protected members in C++ and Java accessible only from within the class and its subclasses. However, to accomplish this in Python, this answer is convention. It's by convention. So by prefixing the name of your member with a single underscore, you are telling others don't touch this unless you are a subclass. Example of protected data with the same class, we are declaring an init method and starting with single underscore in front of a variable that you have declared in a class like this one. Now private data. In Python, there is no existence of private instance variables which cannot be accessed except inside an object. However, a convention is being followed by most Python code encoders, that is, a name prefixed with an underscore. For example, underscore data should be treated as a non-public part of the API or any Python code, whether it is a function, a method, or a data member. A private instance variable in Python is declared by adding double underscore in front of a variable which you want to be a private. And to access that private data, we need a concept of name mangling. So let's see name mangling and how it works. In Python, there is something called name mangling, which means that there is a limited support for a valid use case for a class private member. Any identifier of the form underscore double underscore data, at least two leading underscore or at most one trailing underscore, can be accessed outside the class with underscore class name double underscore data, where class name is the current class name with leading underscores stripped. Example of name mangling for private data. So let's see how a private data is declared and how you can access those private data outside the class. Here double underscore represents a private instance variable and this variable cannot be accessed outside the class. To access this outside the class, there is a concept of name mangling. So using name mangling, you can access this data. So here we are declaring one sample class, object of sample class, by passing var1 var2 as a variable. And if you are trying to access this private var1 like this, then this gives an error. And to access this data, you need to follow this convention underscore class name double underscore data. So here is that convention s dot double underscore sample double underscore private var1. This is a name mangling. So let's see the working of all those example private, protected and public data in Python. So let's start with public data. I'm going to declare one class. That class name, let's say sample, and defining one init method by var1 or simple variable 1. Now self dot public var1 is equals to var1. This object, that the object instance or the instance variable public var1 is the public variable of the instance, and it can be accessed outside the class. So let's see how it's working. Sample, and we are initializing here with public data, and we can access it outside the class just by that variable name public var1. So this will give the output public data. So this is a public variable that we can access it outside the class. Now let's see an example of protected data. Here a protected data can, or we can say at a single underscore self dot underscore protected var2 is equals to var2, and initialize by passing var2 here. Now creating another object s1 sample by passing, let's comment it out first, sample. So this is public data and this is protected data. Now it is just a convention, protected data. In Python there is nothing like this. Still this variable is accessible outside the class. It is just a convention for other programmers that if you are using this protected data, then you must be aware of it, that you are using in a subclass. Otherwise it may have some complications in your code logic. Now let's see example of private data. For private data, I'm going to declare a third variable with double underscore private for var3. Here I'm going to pass third parameter private data. Now let's access all this data. Public var1, protected var2, print s1 dot double underscore private var3. So if you execute it, you will see you are getting the output public data, protected data, and when we try to access the private data, then there is an error message, attribute error. Sample object has no attribute underscore private var3. So this private var3 does not exist as per the definition of the class, but this is the private data and it can be accessible only inside the class. Like I am going to print here self dot private var3. If I am going to execute it, I am getting the output here, private data, public data, and protected data. So whenever this init method called, first it will print private var3. So we are getting this output first, private data. Then this two statement will execute. So we are getting public data, private data, and now we are accessing this private data outside the class. Then there is an error, that attribute error, sample object has no attribute private var. So to access this private variable outside the class, which is the concept of name mangling, you can declare it like this, sample private var3. So in this, by using the name mangling convention, you can access the private variable outside the class. Now if I execute, you can see here what will be the output. public data, protected data, and private data. So in this way we can access this private data outside the class. Now if we look at the dictionary of the object or the class, you can see this name convention is there. So here you can see this naming convention of class name and that private variable name is appear here. Attribute dict main module weak one, attribute weak reference. Sorry, it's not a class name, it's the object where we can see that underscore sample private var 3. So here is that output where you can see this convention or that variable is stored in class definition like this, and we are using the same definition, same variable like this. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you have understood the concept of public, private and protected data in Python.